All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my men's college basketball Sweet 16 preview. These are the games that will catch my eye the most during Sweet 16 for the games that will take place Thursday and Friday. And the winners of those respective games will go on to the Elite Eight and possibly have a chance to win it all this year in March Madness. So game number one that catches my eye for Sweet 16, it's Florida Gators versus the Maryland Terps. Now, the Florida Gators versus the Maryland Terps, this matchup is going to feed families, and I think this matchup is going to be one of the best games that college basketball will see in men's or women's basketball in this college basketball season. But this game, you have both the Gators and the Terps escaping with victories. Florida escaping with the victory against UConn 77-75. Maryland escaping a huge upset loss by the hands of Colorado State, winning that game 72-71 with Derek Queen's game-winning shot. And this is going to be a really fun matchup. I mean, the matchups here, you have the Gators that had the edge on the front court with their guards of Walter Clayton III and Will Richard. But the marquee matchup in this game is the big man, because you look at Alex Condon, he's a top prospect for the NBA draft. And Derek Queen, the big man for the Maryland Terps, he's going to be a lottery pick for this NBA draft. So I think that's going to be one hell of a matchup between the two big men. But I think the Florida Gators are going to have their hands tied in this game. I think they're going to escape with a victory, but it's going to be a really tough game. And we're going to see if the Florida Gators are really built to win a national championship this year on their quest to win their first national title from since 2006-2007. So again, I think this is going to be the best matchup of the entire tournament. But give me the Gators to defeat the Terps in what should be a highly anticipated game in the Sweet 16. Now, next game is Auburn versus Michigan. Now, in my bracket, I picked Auburn to go to the Final Four. And in order to get to the Final Four, I did have them defeating Michigan in the Sweet 16. And then the next round in the Elite Eight, I had them defeating Michigan State, which that is not an easy task to handle. And I didn't realize that the way how my bracket was set up, that they would actually have to get past these teams, or I didn't think about it until now. But I think Auburn could be on upset alert, because I'm looking at the quality play that Johni Broome has displayed for Auburn, the Auburn Tigers, over the last few weeks. He has not looked the same, and he has not been the same player on both ends of the court. This was a player that could establish the pace of the Auburn's offense offensively and could get back down on the other side of the court and hustle well and play well defensively. But this is Auburn's best player in Johni Broome, and he averages 18 points per game, 11 rebounds. But like I said, he has not been the same player that he once was a few weeks ago. And he's only averaging 11 points in March Madness in the tournament thus far in the two games that Auburn has played in, which is pretty alarming because he's only shooting the ball 40% from the field. Michigan, matchup-wise, this is a bad look for Auburn because Michigan has two big men, and Johni Broome cannot follow or guard two big men at once. So this could lead to Michigan scoring a lot of points in the paint, the big man collecting a lot of rebounds, offensive or defensive rebounds. This is going to be something to look out for. This is going to be a tough challenge for Auburn to get past if they want to get to the Final Four or win a national title. But I think they got their hands full. Their hands are going to be full playing against this Michigan Wolverines team in the Sweet 16. Another marquee matchup. Can Arizona upset Duke? And I'm going to say no. I don't think Arizona can upset Duke. Duke has looked like the best team in the country, and their two impressive dominating victories in March Madness thus far. I just talked about their dominating victory against St. Mary's, Mount St. Mary's, where they nearly blew them out by 50 points, and then they blew out Baylor by 23 points. So Duke has actually defeated Arizona earlier this year, where Duke defeated them 69-55. So I'm looking forward to how Cooper Flagg plays against Arizona, because in the first matchup that they played against each other this year, Cooper Flagg dropped 24 points in the first matchup. But I'm also looking at the quality play from Caleb Love, that the guard for Arizona, that helped Arizona dig themselves out of a hole when they trailed by Oregon in round 32, when they trailed by 15 points, and they rallied back into that ball game and got past Oregon in round 32. But I just think Duke, the way how they're playing, well in transition, they're shooting well. The way how Cooper Flag has been playing thus far in this tournament, coming off that ankle injury, I think Duke is just going to be too much for Arizona to handle, and I think Duke is going to have a comfortable victory against Arizona. Not saying that Arizona doesn't have a shot, because they're a complete different team than what they were the first time they played Duke, but I just don't see the upset happening. I see Duke getting past Arizona in this ball game. And another game that stands out to me is an SEC matchup between Kentucky and Tennessee. Now, this is going to be an interesting matchup because Kentucky has defeated Tennessee twice this year. And they did it once without Lamont Butler. Kentucky defeated Tennessee without Lamont Butler. But they also defeated Tennessee without Lamont Butler in the lineup. So Kentucky has been playing very well in this tournament thus far. I mean, this is a great basketball team that's got good balance on the court. There's a lot of players that can hurt you in several different ways for the Kentucky Wildcats to get going in a ball game. They have a lot of good shooters as well, which is an ingredient for success for March Madness. And Kobe Brea is stepped up well at the guard position. If they have a good shooting performance and continue this good play like they just had against Troy and Illinois, I think Tennessee is in a world of trouble in this matchup. And when it's hard to be a team 3 times in a row. That's why I picked Tennessee over Kentucky in my bracket for the Sweet 16. But I really believe the way how Kentucky's playing, Tennessee might have their hands full, and we might see an upset here with the 3rd seed getting past the 2nd seed, with Kentucky, their first year removed from having John Calipari removed from the program, gets back to the Elite 8 and could possibly go to the Final Four. So those are the matchups that have caught my eye for the Sweet 16. Again, I can't give you guys an Elite 8 matchup because in order for that to happen, the Sweet 16 game's got to be over. But I think the winners of this Sweet 16 games, whether it's whatever region it is, I think they have, if anybody advances, and those tough games that I just mentioned, if Florida could get past Maryland, if Auburn could get past Michigan, or Kentucky could get past Tennessee, they have a good chance of making it to the Final Four or playing for a national title this year. But that is my Sweet 16 March Madness predictions.